Hello everyone, I'm actually trying this another Call of Duty Black Ops 2 gameplay on the map Yemen. I'm playing some Hardpoint on League. I'm with a full team because if you don't know, the season for League players, the new season for League players just opened or just restarted again. And I got to Master within the first day on my solo rank, so I wanted to try and get to Master in the first day with a team. Even though this was the day after, so I didn't achieve that goal, but I did hit Master solo rank in the first day, so I'm really proud of that. And I'm also in a subdivision with a few of my friends and someone from Complexity. You may know him, Complexity Aches. He's actually a professional gamer, and I think they came top 8, so they are really good players. And just to know, I'm in a subdivision with one of the best players in the world. It's gonna sort of drive me on and gonna make me try and get a higher place as possible. I want to try and overtake him and my friends, and especially seeing as I finish school soon this month actually, because I have prom 28th. I have my last exam on the 14th, so I finish school then. So I'll have about 2-3 weeks just to try and grind out League play and try and overtake them and get a highest finish as I can. But what you're going to see here today is some Hardpoint. I know it's not my favourite game mode, but I'm not the worst at Hardpoint. You know, if I had to choose out of CTF and Search, I'd probably choose CTF and Search and then Hardpoint. But that doesn't mean I can't hold my own in a Hardpoint, even though I can't even see kids in corner. Look how bad this is. How did I not see that guy to the right? An absolute choke on my behalf. But what I wanted to actually know, the class I'm using first, I don't think I've said my class setup, so I'm using an M8 for red dot sight, stock and quick draw. I'm using the BT3R as my secondary. I'm using lightweight, toughness, dexterity and a trophy system because I'm sort of just trying to get into hard points and trying to anchor at the same time. So I was just trying to do everything in this game, and I like trophy systems are really helpful against EMPs, flashes, because I don't run tac mask in this class, so it's really essential. But what I wanted to talk to you about today, or talk about today on my channel, is how to win hard points and sort of tips and stuff you can do better to win hard points. So if you don't watch Hardpoint, or you know that competitive, you won't know that most teams have different roles for different players. Most pro teams will have 2 objective players, one AR Slayer or a Slayer in general, depending on the map size, who'll just roam around the map, kill people near the hardpoint, kill people at spawn. He'll just try and get his kill streaks, because kill streaks help so much in this. They help you with getting spawns, and that's the final like task in a team, is an anchor. What they do is they sit in a spawn where it's safe enough for your team to spawn around, and they have to keep it safe so that your team can spawn near the anchor, and the anchor will usually be near the hard points, and that like really helps you get some points, and that really helps you like get your kills and win the game. Because if you don't have an anchor, you're going to spawn miles away, you're going to take ages getting to the hard point. By then the other team is set up well, the other team will have nice control, nice points, and it's just really hard. So you need a good anchor, and a lot of times an anchor will get his streaks. So are the objective players. Everyone can get streaks. It's not like the objective players are just there to die. Like if one objective player is near a hellstorm, then he'll probably just switch with the AR Slayer or something, and the Slayer will go in to the hard point, and the objective player will just run around try and get his streaks. And you can swap. I'm not saying that the anchor is not allowed to go in the hard point, or he's not allowed to get kills. You can mix and match, but primarily that's your roles. The next thing that will really help you win hard points is don't give the enemy streaks. Like when you get streaks, it's really helpful. So if your enemy gets streaks, it's going to be really helpful to them. You see this hard point in the church is extremely hard to break, so they got that first. And instead of just all rushing in there and all getting kills trying to fight for 15 points, what we're going to actually do is go and set up for the next hard point, because I've got a sentry gun and streaks, and we don't want to give them any streaks. So we're going to set up nicely on the hard point, not give him any more kills. We send one guy over to like distract him, and he actually manages to break it, so fair play on his behalf. If you can do that, that's amazing, but most times you probably won't get that kill. You just give up on the hard point. It's not worth fighting over 20 seconds, because you can easily get that back. And that's another thing. Hard points are never lost or never won until the game's over. I've been 100 to 20 points and we've brought it back. We've also been 140 points to 60 and we've lost it. You know, in CTF and Search, if you're 5-1 up or 5-0 up in rounds or flag caps, it's more than likely, like 90% chance you're going to win the game. But you can be 150 points up to nil and they can still come back. If they get 2 good hard points, they get a good hard point with loads of streaks, then you know, they could get to 100 points and they still have like a few streaks left. It's all to play for. And my phone's gone crazy, sorry, it's why I was like couldn't speak properly. I was trying to look at my phone. I'm going to turn it off now so I don't get distracted. But as you can see, look, our teammates are all rotating. That's another key thing. You have to rotate quickly. If you're slow in the rotations, the enemies are going to set up, and it's going to be so hard to break the hard points. Like on that church hard point, they got there first, and it's near impossible to break. There are some hard points where you literally can win the game off it. Like, for example, slums. You got a junkyard and you got the blue. If you can keep that anchor there and your whole team spawn around there, you're going to be at a massive disadvantage. Cause that's like 120 points. So you can get about 100 points out of that. You're in a real good position. And never take anything for granted as well. Like if you're winning by, for example, 80 points, just keep going, keep playing until the game's over. Don't take your foot off the gas, because they can get streaks and you'll be in a sticky situation and it won't be very fun for anyone. And another huge thing to know is tacticals are insanely good on hardpoint. Flash, EMPs, and especially smokes. If the enemy have a sentry gun, or they have really good setup on the hill, if you smoke that, sentry gun won't be able to get you, and the enemies won't be able to see it, and you're just going to be able to... There's other two things going to happen. You're going to get in there and you're going to contest it, and they're not going to get any points. You're not going to get any points, but at least, you know, they're not getting any further ahead or catching up. Or it'll be really stupid, really crazy, and the enemy and you'll kill the enemies and you'll somehow get control of a hill. That's happened to me occasionally. That's been my downfall occasionally. But smokes are extremely effective. So are EMPs, because EMPs will disorientate your opponents and they won't be able to see. So unless you're coming up against a team, if you're coming up against a team, then it's going to be a lot not as effective, because teams can talk to each other, they can give call-outs, so you don't really need a radar. But if you're coming up against randoms on league play who aren't going to talk to each other, then it's going to be a lot more effective, because they're not going to shout where the enemies are, they're not going to be giving call-outs, they're not going to be giving helpful advice. It's just going to be a lot of confusion, and they're going to be shooting their teammates half the time. That's not saying that EMPs are the best, because flashbangs and flashbangs are probably better than stuns. Flashbangs help so much, like unbelievable amounts, unless you run trophy systems, which is what I run all the time, just because I don't run flak jacket, I don't run tac mask that often, and I'm not sure if they block smoke. I don't think they do, but I might be wrong. But they were really helpful. And look at this hill, this is where I really start going off. I get a quad to start it and they can't get me up this hill. We get full time, and we basically, when you're in a situation like this, when it's 160 to 140, the next hill is so important, because if the other team get it and get a good time at it, they're ahead. If you get it, you can pretty much edge the game out and edge closer and closer to winning the game. So just remember, set up on next hard points. If you can't break it, just set up really well and you'll break them back. So a team can go up 15-0, you can go up 15-0, and then they can go up 90 because their hard point might not be as good, and you might get a better hard point, so you might be 110 to 90, and then it's back in the middle and you could just fight for it again and you'll be in the lead and you might have score streaks. So when you are enjoying control of a hill, make sure you get your score streak. This is what I'm doing. I'm just head glitching, camping, getting my streaks. I'm just telling my team at the moment, go to the next, and we get the next. So they're all distracted on me. My teammates are flying around to the next hard point, and this is where we pretty much win the game, because sometimes the game's never over until it's mathematically over. Like if they mathematically can't catch up, like say they need 110 points but there's only 68 seconds left, then you've won the game. That's when you can sort of stop, even though most teams probably don't stop because they want to play for pride, and they don't want to like get beaten 250. They just want the time to expire so it looks a little bit better, or they want to catch up so they don't lose by as much, which is understandable. But look here, we're winning. They got that hard point, and I know that you're not getting that hard point, and they're just going to get streaks. And even though I knew the game was over, I didn't want to stop playing, because I knew I was going to use this video as a backdrop to talk about how to play hardpoint, because this is a prime example. Look, we've set up already, they're still getting a hardpoint, everybody in my team is there, like already. So that teamwork, good teamwork. Also winning your personal gun battles, I mean, you need to win those personal gun battles. Like say there's an anchor, you versus an anchor, if you win that, you get control of the spawns, your team can get 40 seconds on the board. If they win that, they get 40 seconds, and it makes your job a lot more difficult to come back from it. So winning your personal battles, because sometimes you might be one off a streak, and that is when you definitely need to win them. Like that's when your aim needs to be perfect. And because streaks are so important, guys, I can't stress how important streaks are. Even though sometimes I've only used 2-3 with dogs, if you can get dogs, then props to you. And here I'm just choking my 40 kill. I was trying to get 40 kills in a game, but I couldn't get it. I just choked it, and if the game went on for 2 more seconds, I would have got it, but it wasn't to be. I guess I'm cursed on this map anyway, but I hope you enjoyed this gameplay. I'm using the sideboard camouflage, if anyone noticed. I'm sure you have. Personally, I prefer dragon. I've brought them both. You'll see this is a dragon camouflage. I was using the sideboard camo the whole game. They're two really nice camos, and I just hope they bring up more like this, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.